Good morning and greetings from Utah. It's a chilly, wet day. It's been drizzling much of the night and not really raining, but I dare not step out on further onto the porch because of the water and because I'm carrying my laptop and they don't go too well together, as you know. Um, this is the desert. It's the high desert. It's a place of dryness and then moisture. We joke here that what in other parts of the country is a light rain, here in Utah would be a heavy rain, a gully washer. So this drizzle is more the norm, where it slowly accumulates. And to be honest, if it weren't for water from the mountains because of snowpack, we wouldn't have yards and gardens throughout the year. We depend on that for irrigation. Deserts are strange places, but every place has its own beauty, its own interest, its own wealth, its own history. And I'm struck by how much a place and how much our family impact us. This time of difficulty is one strangely of ordinariness, where the sun keeps rising, it keeps setting, we still have to make food, we have to clean, we live out our days, we wake up, we go to bed, we do all the ordinary things of life. Well, most of them, we may not go to work. And some people don't have money coming in and are really worried about what to eat. And that concerns me, particularly in much of the third world. Hunger was a companion during the days of my grandparents growing up in Europe. Both of them on my mother's side came from relatively poor families, and they lived in times that were often difficult. And, my parents growing up was marked by the Depression. Another time for my mother's family of great difficulty and near hunger. Although, fortunately, they made it through, and they made it through by grit and by help from other people. Well, it's that time again. But in these times, it's useful to look at the land around us and lands that our bodies or ourselves or our ancestors may have lived in, to understand things perhaps a little more deeply and to get a sense of the role of history and the role of things like hunger or epidemics. But also mystery and magic and passion are also part of this. My grandmother came from West Yorkshire. Many of you may not know Miss West Yorkshire, some of you do. It's a dramatic landscape of moors that seem to stretch endlessly, and then valleys with trees that cut into the moors, and where the climate is milder and often you find towns. This has been a wild land for a very long time. It also was the seat of the Industrial Revolution, with spinning mills and so on from sheep and wool. It has a long history. It's one of the old Celtic redoubts, places where the Brythons, the Britons, stayed longer than elsewhere and fought against the Saxons and against other people. The poet Ted Hughes published a book on the place of his collection of his poems he called Elmet. And Elmet is the old name for West Yorkshire, when it was a kingdom, a Brythonic kingdom. I was thinking about that of Elms and the place of Elms, and I wanted to write a poem. Here in the high desert of Utah, we're not quite to the time where elm seeds float on the air and seem to cover everything, but that time will come. Now, those elms probably came from England, I don't know, but I don't think there were elms here in Utah before the English came. I mean, our trees, native trees, are more like box elders and river birches and scrub oak and stuff like that, and firs and spruces, stuff like that. But the elm seeds carry a lot of messages and a lot of meaning. So this poem is about elms and elm seed. It's called Land of Elms. Do you know a land where elm seeds float to cover the earth in spring? They're tiny, blowing ships sailing from heights unknown, visions unseen. There is one such place, though not mine, on whose earth my family trod, Brythonic verses sailed each year before springing into forests, whistling forceful breaths off the sea, and outbreaks of lashing spirit pushed Celtic coracles of faith, gifts to wild women, untamed men. Across swaths of upland heath, the wind divided moors from woods. Around hilltop towns, forests arched, though slowly eaten by small farms. White visions piled up on furrows, hedges and against stone houses. They waited to be seen and heard, to grow anew hope's green carpet. Land of elm, land of bandits, bards, spinning mills, and landscape alive. Rolling, rolling dales and long vales, history spundered on limestone. Dreaming wheels, worsted weave sold, new prophets spoke, revival struck. Children sailed from Merseyside, elm seeds sprout into new summers. Well, I will leave you until tomorrow as we all wait for summer to come. Take care.